Scholars, welcome to another edition of Bio 2 with Mr. Chamberlain. Today we're going to talk about equilibrium. Now, anybody who's ever heard of vertigo, maybe you know that vertigo is a sense of spinning associated with a problem with the inner ear. Specifically, vertigo, just like Lucille 2 is experiencing right here, is due to a problem with the superior semicircular canal. Maybe this sounds crazy and unfamiliar to you. I guarantee you by the end of this lecture you will have some idea of what I'm talking about. So equilibrium. There is more than one type. First we're going to talk about static equilibrium. This just detects the position of your head and it helps you maintain stability and posture when your head's just standing still. And then the second type is dynamic equilibrium. And if you move quickly, your body needs to be able to correct to make sure that you don't fall flat on your face or on the side of your head or some other falling. So in order to do that, it has this sense of dynamic equilibrium. It's really interesting how the body does this, and let's see how it does. So static first. The organs are located within the vestibule. The vestibule is this chamber within the semicircular canals and the cochlea. The membranous labyrinth in that vestibule consists of two chambers. There's the utricle and the saccule. And each one has a little guy called a macula. So you can see here the utricle, the saccule, and the two maculae. And you may be thinking to yourself, what exactly are these maculae? What's the point of these guys? Well, these maculae, they contain hair cells. These hair cells, they keep popping up again, these tiny cells with these big hair-like projections. Hairs on the cell go into this gelatinous mass, and I like to think of this mass as like maybe a jello with things in it, or maybe a beanbag chair. Maybe you're too young, maybe that's just me, but I'm going to go with a beanbag chair. And inside that beanbag chair are these calcium carbonate crystals, otherwise known as otoliths, that give weight to the gelatinous structure. When the head is upright, the hairs point up. When the head moves forward, go ahead and bend your head forward real quick, bend your head backward real quick, and then to the side, and you'll notice that you don't fall over. Well, that is because these hairs in there bend. That stimulates the hair cells. That impulse travels to the vestibulocochlear nerve, specifically the vestibular nerve. Tells the brain your head's in a new position, and then your brain moves to the skeletal muscles and sends impulses to the skeletal muscles, and they go, okay, well, we should fire and maintain balance to make sure we don't fall over. Here's what it looks like. So you can see the otoliths. Those are those crystals in this big jelly-like mass, this like beanbag chair. When you see, just like she bends her head forward, you see that gravity pulls the macula forward. That moves the hairs, which we can see right here, moves these hairs. That fires the vestibulocochlear nerve and says, hey, move the head a little bit to make sure that we stay up. So now let's talk about, that was static equilibrium. That's just moving forward, the head noticing, and making sure that you stay upright. Let's think about more complicated maneuvers, dynamic equilibrium. So there's actually three semicircular canals in the labyrinth. They detect motion of the head during sudden movement. If you spun in a circle really quickly, then this is going to be what helps you out. These canals lie orthogonal, or at right angles to one another. Each corresponds to a different anatomical plane. Let's try to remember these. Yes, you're right, the sagittal plane. Yes, you're right, the coronal plane. Oh, and perfect, the transverse plane. Well done. So this canal ends in a swelling called the ampulla, and that has the sensory organs of the semicircular canals. So you can see these here. You see how they are in right angles to one another. You see the semicircular canals. Look at these semicircular canals, and look at these ampullae here. So each of these organs in there is called the crista ampullaris, and they have more hair cells that keep popping up again, and those hair cells extend into something called a cupola. And this is dome-shaped. When the head moves suddenly in one direction, the cupola moves in the other direction. That's due to inertia. The liquid inside there wants to stay where it is. So when you move your head real quickly, it tries to stay. So if you move left, it's going to figuratively move right, and it's going to move that cupola. And this bends the hair, and that sends an impulse to the brain. The brain interprets the impulses as movement in that direction. Whatever way the cupola moves, your brain understands that you moved in the opposite direction. And the cerebellum really works closely with this in interpreting these and aiding in maintaining balance. So you can see this is the cupola. The whole thing all together is the crista ampullaris. You can see the hairs from the hair cell extending up in there. And you see some other supporting cells as well. And this is really what it looks like. You see this endolymph in here. Remember, if you're just sitting upright, you're just sitting there, endolymph, it's happy, it's just hanging out. And then all of a sudden, you rotate left. Well, that ampulla really is trying to stay where it is. And because of that, it's going to try to stay there. The inertia is going to hold it there, so it's going to move. This is then interpreted by the brain. The cerebellum works together again and to tell you, okay, you're rotating left, I need to correct the other way. And you can see there are hair cells here. There's more than one type. Not super important. Just see the hairs sticking out of the cells. And there's also other parts that aid in maintaining equilibrium. There's mechanoreceptors in the joints in the neck. They notice pressure. Okay, we should do something. Eyes detect changes in posture as a result of movement. In fact, visual is huge. If you have problems with equilibrium, your visual component needs to be really good. This is maybe why some people have more problems with darkness and vertigo. And also, if you're experiencing vertigo, touching something solid and helping your brain understand that you're not actually spinning is a good way to go too. So, as you can see here, you should now do the educanon at educanon.com. It should really be helpful. Thank you, and I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. Go forth, understand equilibrium, and when you spin around, hopefully your semicircular canals will help you stay upright.